Welcome to the call today. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we're going to talk about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's helping breeders like yourself learn 3 ways to make an additional income without having to get another job this year. You're going to discover in this call how you can make up for lost time. When life just gets in your way and things happen, it seems to slide sideways and everything is careening out of control. And we're going to show you how to make up for lost time and start to rebuild wealth again, even in the middle of all that life happening to you. Because it just does. It happens to all of us. We're going to help you discover how, even with all your daily demands as a breeder, which is a lot, I know, you have a lot on your plate, that in the middle of all that, you can create a massive financial relief. I'm going to tell you how I even fell on my face a couple of times, but how I managed to secure a 5-figure check every single month, even when I wasn't breeding dogs. I'm also going to show you how to get out of that cycle of barely getting by. Now, I've worked with a lot of breeders, and the most common thing I hear from them is they all want financial freedom so that they can have time freedom. That's very important to them, and I'm sure it's to you. And they want to do their life in ways that's most fulfilling to them. And these are some big concerns, most near and dear to their hearts. By most of the time, but most of the time, they don't even think it's possible because of the workload and the type of work that's involved in breeding and handling dogs and doing things like this in our industry. It's a big concern for the thousands of breeders that we work with. So, who is this call for? I'm going to get right to the point so you don't waste a lot of time listening to something meaningless to you. So if you're sick of the financial rug being jerked out from under you, this call is for you. If you make good money but you can't seem to get ahead or even make ends meet, this call is for you. If you're freaked out about retirement and don't have the assets to set anything aside, and you really don't have anything, it's very much for you. How about this? If you're panicking about how in the world you're going to afford to send your kids to college when the time comes, or even what you're going to do when they're out of the house, and you have the emptiness syndrome, well, for us, we're worried that our two will never achieve adult independence. Either way, that's the season that we're in. It's actually starting to happen to me right now. Well, if you're in that category, this call is for you. You definitely want to hear this out. Also, if you're in the category that you just want your own money to do what you want to do with it when you want to do it, then this call is for you for sure. So here's my promise. I'm going to show you how to get caught up financially as a breeder without getting another job, without a pie in the sky making money quick deals, or without going back to school. But I want to get very real with you. And this is the reality. And mostly due to finances, like the pressure that most couples and family are under right now, divorce is a reality. It's about 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Also, have you heard about this? With the financial pressures, a lot of things are happening. Careers are being outsourced. People are having to go other places to find jobs. A friend of mine's husband had to move 6 hours away just so he could make the money to provide for the family. So they don't even live close to each other. So this is a really raw reality. And, we have people who are sending their kids to school and have these giant school loans with no way to really pay them back and no way to get out from under them. That's a big reality. And of course, this crazy economy is just going to do what it's going to do. That's pretty scary as well. And this is also a reality. no extra cash to get ahead. So many families are in that boat. And what I call the oh no fund, you actually don't even have it when the oh no hits the fan. That's a big reality for most folks. And even worse than that, there are families out there that have no possibility of owning their own home, or at least they think they don't. They're just renting. And that's a sore reality right now. So, what are you doing with your life? You might be asking yourself that question. And you might be saying, well, actually, I cannot cut my budget even one more dollar. I'm also really tired of taking cheap family vacations. They aren't memorable to me. I don't want my kids with those kinds of memories. That's all I ever want will be able to give them. And I'm definitely over the whole couponing thing. That's something that's been over for years. I might have done it when I was first married, but who's got time for that now? So does it leave you feeling trapped with absolutely no way out? The biggest problem right now, and what I hear from, especially from pet professionals that are about my age, is the time is ticking. And every day you're getting closer to retirement. And many of us have friends that have died of cancer or are dying of cancer or heart attacks, strokes. I don't want to get too morbid here, but, or maybe you lost a spouse. I'm so sorry, and that's horrible. And you as a person cannot rely on that I've got plenty of time. You really can't rely on that anymore. So the government obviously is not taking care of you either. It's only going to get worse. And in our age range, we have the concern of, will Social Security even be here when we get 65? That's a big deal. So does your stomach flip when you think about your retirement? Just sit and marinate on that for a minute. Are you in a position where you're pretty comfortable and your education has taken you to an executive income status? Probably not. If you're listening to this video, sorry about that. If you're listening to this video, you're probably not at that point. So first, let me stop and tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Stephanie Cook. I started my breeding program in 2017 as a stay-at-home mom, working from home because I wanted to be present as a mom of two kids on the autism spectrum. So I heard that dog breeding was a way to make a significant source of income working from home. So we made an investment. We already had a deep, deep love for Irish setters, and our children's older dog, who was a setter, had passed. So we made the investment, bought a boy and a girl, and took us about 2 years, and we had a litter, and we broke even, and we're like, wow, we're in profit mode. But I quickly discovered within our industry that even though you can make good money, there's a very high overhead. A lot of cost goes into raising dogs if you're a breeder and you're doing it the right way. And there's also a high risk of losing everything you've built, literally overnight, when things can go sideways. Because of Mother Nature is definitely in charge. When you're the breeder, you're not in charge. Mother Nature is. But thankful, I learned a big secret that helped me completely avoid the pitfalls that come with our industry and in our profession. Or I'd probably be in a big financial disaster today. So when it comes to taking time off in life, it I actually tapped into a secret, which I'm going to share with you today. And through that big secret, and I'm super thankful when I needed time off because, well, of life, I had to tend to some of life's problems. It happens when you have a family, when you're in a family, it just happens to all of us. But I was able to earn five-figure checks coming into me month after month, even though I wasn't breeding right then. Now, have you heard of the Gen X effect? Well, that's my generation. Your generation, too, probably, if you're listening to this call. We're in a special generation. We've seen it all. We made it all. We lost it all. We started over. We've reinvented ourselves because we are resourceful. And now it's our time to do what we want to do. So just be encouraged as you're listening to this, and maybe you've gotten your heart rate up a little thinking, oh my goodness, I'm really in a situation here and I need to figure a way out. Well, you have what it takes. I want to encourage you of that. You've come from the generation that has figured that out. And so you're here in the right place with the solution that's going to help you. So we all want financial safety and security. We want to learn how to make up for lost time because time is ticking. It's not going slower. I think it goes faster every day. Well, there's a little sand through the hourglass. Here's a little bit about my background. After getting hit by two recessions, we also had some major life events. My husband became unable to work and eventually became a 100% disabled veteran. Our children, which we had when we were 35 and 40, were both diagnosed with autism. So I needed to be home with all of them. So I had to figure something out. I had to rebuild and to secure our finances. So I did some research and I learned a few things. First, I learned that there's two types of income. The now income, which is like money you make from a job, which wasn't a good option for me with needing to be with my family. And there's also what's called residual income, which is like making money when you sleep. Now, I researched several ways to make money, and I'm going to list some pros and cons for you about all these, the pros, the cons, and the now and the later money. First, I thought about investing in the stock market. And some of the things that I discovered with that is it's kind of like the breeding program. There's lots of risks that come with that territory. The pros are, though, you can make a lot of money with a little bit of cash, but it has to be extra cash, spare cash, cash that you don't need because you can lose it very fast. And for me, I didn't have any spare cash. Um, Also, with that, you can, let's see. And also, the pros of the stock market is that if you get big enough, there's substantial dividends that come in residually. So there are people making a lot of money when it comes to stocks. You can buy and sell. This buying and selling is the now money. Like you can get the money in your fingertips right away if you know how to time things. That's the pros of the stock market. The cons of doing stocks, well, there's a great risk of loss. Just like explained earlier, you can lose your shorts overnight. There's a huge learning curve with learning stocks and bonds and markets and all that stuff. And a trusted advisor is someone you need, but you're trusting them with your money. It's like, so they'll build you a nice portfolio. And that can be a disaster, of course, because there's market volatility day to day. And a friend of mine, she worked pretty hard and had her whole retirement, everything bundled up in her stock portfolio, and some terrible mistakes were made, and she lost 100 grand overnight. It was devastating. So that didn't look like a good option for me. So I looked for the next thing I looked at was real estate. You know, a lot of people make a lot of money in real estate. But I realized up front you need about ten to $20,000 just to get started in investing in real estate or even learning about it to be successful. The pros, yeah, you can make residual money like with the rentals or Airbnb or whatnot. You can buy and sell and make a lot of money by playing big in the market. Also, another big pro is that you can have tangible investments and assets that you can call your own, and that helps a lot. The cons, you can lose your shirt. You can definitely lose it in the real estate, and that scared me to death. Thinking about making such a big investment and hoping it would work. The other thing was the learning curve. It totally overwhelmed me. I had a family to take care of and all these things on my plate. It was just too much. And you need a mentor. And it's super hard to find someone who's willing to spend their time helping you learn their business. It looks like it was and again, look at this as well. If you own your own properties, it's a huge time suck and a big headache. I've watched people in the real estate market. They look successful on the outside, but super stressful and not a whole lot of fun on the inside. The third thing, thought about starting a new business. That was another option. So I looked at four types of businesses. As a franchise, well, again, there's a big money investment to do a franchise. And that's you can make your money back bringing it in, and eventually residual money will be on autopilot. But it was too big of an investment for me, and of course there was the corporate limitations. The other thing I looked at was a home-based business. Now that's an income that you can bring right now to help you out when you're in financial straits. Also money that can be residual and it can build up pretty fast. It's like this business. You can quit your job in less than a year. So I looked at that. The other thing was a brick and mortar. Again, giant investment of money and time, and you needed a building to be in, and then the inventory, and everything seems to be going online these days anyway. The fourth thing I looked at was affiliate marketing. This is something like Amazon and eBay. Well, that was pretty complicated, but I tried it and I had boxes of stuff here, there, and everywhere, and very low return on my investment. And I eventually realized it takes about 5 to 8 years to get really good and get your groove going to be successful in those things. So I chose the home based business because it was the fastest and most direct way out of our financial state. It provided me with time flexibility. I could increase my raises whenever I wanted a raise. I could set my own hours, work from home, so when I was done, I'd put it away and go have fun with my kids. And I could also directly help other people, which is something that I'm very passionate about. And even doing all that, we were able to travel. Now, with my kids on the spectrum, we're not world travelers yet, although we are talking about some cruises and maybe Europe. But for us, travel means Disney World and adventure travel, like the rock climbing. And my son loves NASCAR and IndyCar. So we hit Talladega a couple of times a year and other adventures like that. I also enjoy spending time with my husband. Having that time that I can be with him and work on our relationship, it's so precious to me. I also I'm there to help my children reach their goals. Now they're both on the autism spectrum, but they both have talents and abilities. They just march to the beat of a different drum. My daughter's an amazing equestrian, and if you know anything about horses, they get kind of pricey to keep fed and all their needs. But she's made a lot of progress. She's graduated high school. Now she works for a veterinarian clinic, and her next goal is to become a vet tech. And my son, he has grand dreams, and I'm there every day with him to help him learn his way and help him move on with his goals. So you might be thinking, Stephanie, wait a minute. I've done this before and it hasn't worked. I could have been the one to get the consolation prize for the biggest failure when it comes to doing home based business. And maybe you're saying, well, it hasn't worked for my friends either. Well, you're right. Most people do fail. There are crazy limited markets out there like fingernail stickers or the next exotic miracle cure, or some opportunities are just so labor intensive and they don't have any proven strategies. Also, those startup companies, those home business companies that start up, they go under in a year's time very often. That's a concern. And the biggest one here is never being professionally trained. So I hear you. You're right. 90% of all businesses fail because of the lack of proper training and support. So, with what I'm going to show you today, there is strategic training. There are simple systems, actually, that are proven systems that I've used over and over again with professionals within the pet industry, such as yourself. And we've gotten proven leadership and correct actions to help take simple, duplicatable steps to help you succeed. And this is what I plugged into right from the start of working in my home business. So, the question, is this right for you? Now, like I said, a lot of people do fail because they were set up to fail, probably unknowingly. It just didn't have the right tools in their hands. Now, creating a six-figure income without getting another job is completely possible. I just wanted to assure you that. There are two ways you can go about it. The first, you can try to figure it all out on your own, lose more time, lose more money, possibly fail at this. Or two, you can get help from someone who has done it, who has paid the price, who's paved the way for you, and who can fast track it for you. So you have a choice. There are several options. You have several doors you could go through. So here's how I can help. I have set aside a time next week to speak to you personally about fixing your current reality versus staying stuck for the rest of your life. It's a free consultation session you can have with me, where I'm going to take a look at your current scenario. We're going to dissect it and just see what we can do to come alongside with you. Number one, we want to increase your profitability with what you're currently doing. And number two, the kind of like free up some time for you so you might be feeling really, really stuck. Like, where am I going to find the time to be able to create this extra source of income? So I'm going to spend some time with you. We're going to look at all of that. It's completely free consultation, and I'm looking forward to coming alongside you. And who is this for? Well, if you're looking at having a consultation session with me, I want to make sure that you're really qualified to spend that 45 minutes with me. And this is who I'm looking for. Number one, you must be committed to shaking things up and making big changes. Number two, you must be willing to invest in yourself, super hungry, teachable, and you just know you got to have more. And you also know this is going to work for you. Also, you need to be really serious about doing it the right way. I am committed to no failure. We don't want you to fail. This is not going to be about jumping into a get rich quick gimmick, looking for the next big thing. It's not at all going to be what we're talking about you. You must be willing to get your feet moving. And the question you need to ask yourself, how much is this costing your sanity to stay where you are? Now, is your marriage and your partnership suffering? Do you want to be traveling more and have the ability to do that? How about your debt? Who's knocking you down and suffocating you? How about your kids? You know they're growing up and you know you're just not there. You're not present because of the time capacity and all of your constraints that on you take care of everything else and your kids just missing out on doing life with them. How's that going for you? Also, you can live anywhere. Can you live anywhere you choose to live right now? Is that an option for you? Probably not. And the last question I'm going to ask you is how much will it cost you and your family to be in the same situation that you're in right now, 10 years from now? I mean, what's the price you're going to have to pay if you stay stuck? What's That's a real valid question to ask yourself. So how much longer are you willing to wait to step into the life that you want? That's my question to you. How about a reality check? You really need to decide for yourself. You're listening to this call. So this reality check is this. The average lifespan is 78 years. And where are you in relation to this? That time is ticking. It's ticking for all of us. And if we don't fix this, you only have one shot at it or it's kaput. How many people do you know that are in that phase of life? And as the time nearing the expiration is coming soon, so they have no legacy for their children, their family, and their future. That's a reality check. So, where are you in relation to this? You need to ask yourself that honest question. So let's lay out a plan. So if you can be the one in charge of your time and your bank account and rise out of the ashes for good once and for all, how cool will that be to actually finally succeed at what you put your hand to? Finally get the results that you need in your life right now. So the next step is to click the next button next to the video. Let's get this fixed as soon as possible. We want to help you like we've helped so many others. Here's one great testimony I wanted to share with you in closing. This is one of the breeders that was helped on my team, Chad and Christy from Ohio. Through this home-based opportunity, they have been able to retire, sell their breeding program, and now they're living life in this, oops, sorry, in this beautiful new vineyard they bought in the Czech Republic, all because of the amazing opportunity that my team was able to give them on a silver platter. And it was given to me as well. So the next step for you is to click the button next to the video. That's going to take you to Facebook Messenger where you can connect to me. I ask you a bunch of questions about your life, what you're gone through, where you want to go. Please tell me as much as possible so I can help you. If there's something that you're looking for in your life, in your program right now, if so, you had financial rug pulled out of you and you're just too many times or for whatever reason, no matter how hard you work in your program, you can't seem to get ahead, then we need to talk ASAP. especially if you want financial independence, where you're not going to be depending on anyone else to take care of you when you're retired. Now, this may not be for you. We need to determine this. So click the next button, the button next to the video, and let's get the ball rolling right now in my direction. So many breeders are making a good income, but they're unhappy because it's just a treadmill for them. It's unfulfilling. It's pulling them away from the family time. There are ways to earn an additional income without doing more of the same. But first, we need to talk about it. So I'm looking to partner with a few top breeders so we can lock arms and achieve our goal together. This isn't one of those things where you're going to be going to get to do it later, because 99% of the people who leave the tab open and they're going to come back to it later never do. Then what happens? 6 months, a year, 5 years go by, and there's no change. So, will you be stuck in that same life that you have today 1 year from now if you don't make the change? And a quick question as we're closing here. Do you achieve the goals you set out to accomplish on New Year's Eve last time? Let's talk. Click the button next to the video and let's chat as soon as possible. I usually check my messages a few times a day, so I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for spending time with me here, and have a great rest of your day.